All right, so I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk for 15 seconds to see if the timing's working the way that I think it should be. And then I'll move it back and get it going. But now we move into our rapid fire talks, which is always a favorite part of this event for me, because I don't think I've ever seen a bad rapid fire talk. It's like you have well, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. Um, but you have a structure, and that structure is something that if you're the presenter, you embrace and you go with it, and it's a good time. So the structure, to remind people, is this is going to be 20 slides, 15 seconds each. We're going to get 5 minutes of fun presentation time, and we're gonna see how that goes. And our first, don't worry, I'm not going to make it go and then you have to jump up here between them. We'll pause between them. But our first speaker is Aubrie Souza, who is an alum of Suffolk. And Aubrie, do you want to come on up? And unfortunately, it did not auto advance. So I'm going to see if I can get this to just give me a second here. Transitions. So I've learned that what I think was 15 seconds, I think was 15 minutes. So they don't label it very well. So let's see. So yeah, let's try this here. So let's try. We're gonna just we'll riff here for 10 seconds. How you doing, Aubrie?
I'm good. I've practiced this and not kept pace with my slides once, so hopefully today is the day.
It's a tight rope wire act. Let's see. So if my calculations are correct, then it should be. Oh, by golly. All right. This is the problem. I decided this year I was going to try to do everything off of a cloud version, and it was going to make it all easier. So let me just make sure that transition, duration.
I'm going to take my mouse click after.
There we go. All right.
Is that after
There we go. And let's give it a try. That look good?
Does it still say 0?
Did it still say 0? I think so. Yeah.
Don't we want it to say 15?
Well, isn't the duration 15 seconds?
Oh, no. I do that.
You do this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
When I practice.
The student has become the teacher. I love this. All right, that good? It's like a second or something.
I think duration 20 or whatever.
Oh, is that number
minutes?
of? Oh, overall.
I've never done duration. Or yeah, 5.
All right, let's try this out. This is the joy. This is the joy. All right, let's see. Where did we go? We have to go all the way back down to here. Bum, 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 bum. I can just go honor system. I love that idea. The honor system.
Then that way I will keep pace.
All right. Let's see. From current slide. Okay. The 15 and the whatnot, that one was changed. So I think this is the way to go. I think we do this.
Yeah, that needs to be.
Let's try.
Okay.
I liked that. Okay, that was like. Let's see what current slide is. Nope. Man, this is where. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Show me how you do it. Yeah.
I did. So yeah, and.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to
transitions.
apply.
I don't know what the duration is, but
probably forgot to apply all. Let's try that.
And then it's 0.15 seconds. That needs to be 15.00, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I like this better. I feel strongly about this.
You just didn't apply to all.
I didn't hit apply all.
We didn't do apply all. We're so close.
We're so close. This is what you all thought you were getting in for, right? Okay. Please. All right. I am not above someone thinking they know better. Let's do this. I think I'm so sorry. All right. That seems better.
You're still in my punchlines.
Yeah, pay no attention. Ah, man, okay. Where'd it go? All right. So now we think that needs to be 15.
I think that
It
needs to be,
got,
I think that
somehow
needs
it
to be,
got,
I think that needs to be 5 minutes, and then we just need to
yeah,
do,
I think somehow it
and then
reverted to 15.
after is, instead of 0.15, we
Yeah,
need
I
15.
agree. It
Yeah.
just reverted. All right.
Okay. Okay. Um,
If this goes in 15 seconds, then we're good to go. You guys are all excellent and very forgiving. And 5. All right, we got another
okay.
15 seconds.
Okay, I have another 15 seconds. I don't need to touch it. Do you need this? Hi, folks. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Aubrie Souza. I'm a senior court management consultant at the National Center for State Courts, but more importantly, I am a Suffolk Lit Lab alum. And in a room full of people who taught me everything I know, I thought it would be fun to talk about a principle I learned at the Lit Lab and use today. So problems give us purpose. Innovation at its core is about problems and how to solve them. And without proper motivation, our attention can fade. I got this wrong. I wanted to learn how to code, and I thought it would be cool to be a hacker. So I tried to learn the skills to do anything, but I never had a motivation or a purpose to do that. So I failed. You could roll a d20 that's sitting on the table, and that would be how many coding academies I started, and then how many did I finish? It's not on the d20 because I never finished one. I never learned anything. But enter a problem, a global pandemic. How is that for your problem and for some motivation? During the law school, the pandemic hit, and I got to join the document assembly line, which had a solution to a problem. And so I learned, yes, I learned how to code. There was a problem that I wanted to be a part of, and it gave me the motive, or a problem that I wanted to be part of the solution, excuse me, and it gave me the skills with the proper motivation and a solution that I was working towards. But what I also didn't realize at the time that innovation is not just about that tool. I learned about the law and plain language and how to ask my colleagues for help. But most importantly, I learned how to ask the right question. And so you're like, okay, tell me a new story. That was 5 years ago. But the same thing applies today. I work with courts and I regularly hear, how can we use AI? How should we use AI? But that's the wrong question. The question we should be asking and the reminder is that the problems should define the solution. I take no credit for the assembly line, except for that it's a perfect example of the solution fitting the problem. So we flip that question and say, what is the problem you want to solve? It might be something that involves AI, it might not, but it should be the right and the best solution. So I'm going to apply this to a question that I get a lot, and I'm sorry to my friend Tom Martin, but I hear all the time, we want to use an AI chatbot. We need to use an AI chatbot. But do you? Why? Again, we ask, what is the problem you are trying to solve? And typically it's some version of, well, we don't have enough help or time or access or hours of the day to answer self-represented litigants' questions. But oftentimes the thing that they really need is maybe better self-help information that's written in plain language and translated into multiple languages. They need a better website with simpler and intuitive UX. They need a self-help center or to work on their relationship with their community. Because if you don't have those fundamentals down, if the information that you're feeding into your chatbot is poorly organized, incorrect, if you don't have staff to check how people are using it, you just end up with the same problem. Here's where I always lose it. And AI might be part of the solution. AI might help you structure that information and turn it into plain language faster. I'm not telling you that AI is not a good solution, but if we skip those fundamentals, we might end up back where we started. Because we, at the end of the day, are not just we are not just tech adopters, we are problem solvers. The tech's not going to stop advancing, and along the way, we need to teach the valuable things that help us problem solve. So we have to teach each other. We have to teach us, have a shared language. Bring along your non-technical experts and teach them the tech so that they understand how it works. And you have to teach the right skills, which is how to ask good questions so that you, as a tech adopter, understand how it works, and those who are building the tech understand the problem you are trying to solve. Good questions get us to good solutions. And it's not a crock pot. You cannot set it and forget it. You have to audit it, you have to go back, and you have to make sure that it is still solving the problems that you have today. So innovation is going to change the way we think, and it expands the world of possibilities. But you have to start there. Start with your problem, and let that be the root of the innovation that it stems. Thank you.
All right. We're going to breathe. Next up, we have Jessica Frank. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this button, and hopefully 15 seconds after I do that, things will start up. Okay. Please, please, please.
Well, good. That was a good intro because I forgot to include time for my name. So Jessica Frank, Free Law Project. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. And talking about justice through collaboration.
We'll just do what we know works. So, how about that weather? Still drizzling. Does anyone know if there's been a defiance of a court order yet? I know there was a Just Cause hearing last week. There we go.
All right. So let's talk then about why courts should partner with nonprofits and adopt open source technology. These strategies improve efficiency, reduce costs, and empower self-represented litigants, making justice more accessible for all. So 15 seconds is just long enough to preach to the choir, so welcome to church. Millions of people navigate the legal system each year without a lawyer. Over 90% of them, of low-income individuals, face this reality. And courts struggle to keep up with the self-help problem. Courts are turning to digital tools to bridge the justice gap. However, they're relying on expensive proprietary software that limits flexibility and accessibility. We need solutions that are scalable, affordable, and designed for public good, not just profit. Nonprofits have deep expertise in community needs and access to grants, research, and innovative solutions. By working with courts, we can co-develop tools that are designed for real-world legal problems and focus on access, not revenue. Open source technology means software that is free to use, modify, and share. When courts adopt open source tools, they ensure that publicly funded technology projects remain accessible rather than locking it behind vendor contracts. Now, many courts use proprietary software that locks them into expensive long-term contracts. When upgrades are needed or vendors go out of business, the courts are stuck. So open source solutions prevent this, giving courts control over their own systems. Open source is transparent, it's flexible, and it's community-driven. Proprietary software is a black box. Courts can't control it, they can't modify it, and they have to pay licensing fees. Open source means ownership and adaptability for the courts. Courts operate on tight budgets. Open source tools eliminate those costly licensing fees and allow courts to reinvest those savings in other access to justice initiatives. Plus, they can be customized without waiting for expensive vendor updates. Some courts already use open source tools. For example, those courts that are working with the Lit Labs document assembly line, with Cali's A to J author project, and with the Free Law Project's litigant portal that I manage. These low-cost partnership models show what's possible when collaboration happens. AI-powered legal assistance can guide self-represented litigants through court processes. Open source AI can make legal help accessible without relying on for-profit platforms that put critical tools behind paywalls. The best legal tech isn't built in isolation. Courts, nonprofits, and tech experts need to work together. By collaborating, we can create adaptable, user-friendly solutions that actually meet the needs of the communities we're trying to serve. Transparency and justice matters. Open source software lets the public see how the systems work, ensuring fairness. When court technology is open and reviewable, it builds trust and accountability in the justice system, which is what our democracy desperately needs. Every court has different needs. Open source technology can be customized without reinventing the wheel each time. Courts can start small, then expand or adapt modular solutions as policies, laws, and user needs evolve over time. Nonprofits are mission-driven, not profit-driven. They focus on equity and accessibility, not maximizing revenue. Partnering with nonprofits ensures that courts get technology that prioritizes public service over corporate interests. Now imagine a future where every court has a free adaptable case management system, AI-powered self-help tools, and online filing systems that don't require costly contracts. Open source technology makes this possible, creating a justice system that is more efficient, transparent, and user-friendly. A common myth is that open source is less secure. In reality, because the code is public, more experts can review and strengthen it. Courts using open source tools can benefit from robust community-driven security. To make open source adoption easier, courts can adjust procurement policies to prioritize open standards and open tools. Public funding, grants, and philanthropic investments can also support the development of open source justice technology. Courts should start by exploring open source alternatives to existing proprietary software. They can pilot small projects, engage with nonprofit partners, and ensure that future technology decisions prioritize open access and long-term sustainability. Nonprofits and developers must advocate for open source solutions in the justice space like I'm doing today here with you all. By collaborating with courts, we can create technology that is ethical, open, accessible, and effective in addressing the justice gap. Justice should be transparent and community-driven. By embracing open source technology and nonprofit partnerships, courts can build a legal system that truly serves the public. So let's work together to make justice open for all. Thank you.
I'm just going to continue throwing myself under the bus. I think I'm the font issue as well. That being said, our next, Jessica Frank, thank you. No, not yet. I'll just turn it into a comedy bit. You know, one of the things I learned is that, you know, if you just make a meta joke about the joke, it's funny. One of the things I learned is if you make a meta joke about the, all right, here we go. Next up is Rachel Gao. And I will start and then, please.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here today. My name is Rachel, and I'm the AI researcher at Free Law Project, and we're talking about harnessing AI for smarter case tracking and legal research. I'm gonna give you a little bit background about myself. I started my career in corporate tax, and then I pivoted towards tech by getting my master's at UC Berkeley, and now I'm at Free Law, combining the legal domain and my technical expertise in machine learning and natural language processing. Free Law is a nonprofit dedicated to open legal access through open source solutions. We have a case law and docket search, as well as legal bots, and we offer numerous developer tools and microservices in the open domain. We're constantly working on AI initiatives and tools, both internally and in partnership with the legal organizations and research institutions. Today, I'm going to focus on citator, semantic search, and docket classification. As many of you probably know, Free Law has the largest open access case law opinions, and Citator is a tool to identify whether the cited opinion is still good law or not. It's very similar to Shepherd and KeyCite, the Shepherds right there, but very different from them. Ours is open source. In the past, a lot of this were done painstakingly by legal professionals, and our goal is to utilize AI to help you find precedents faster and easier, and most importantly, with human in the loop. We'll first by identify and extract the citations, and then we identify the passages surrounding citations, and we use extensive prompt engineering to guide the model, and we do this iteratively to improve the model results. Here is an example from the opinion and the model prediction. You can see that the model quotes from the original opinion to support its decisions and repeat the instructions and the case name to reduce hallucination. and produce a confidence score to help a human review. Ultimately, this will become a fine-grained citator with not only the treatment, but also the sentiments and the strength and the depth. We believe this is a vital tool for legal research in the open domain. Now, on semantic search, I know everyone loves keyword search, so don't worry, that's not going anywhere. But for those that do not have the legal expertise, they may not know some of the legal words, like further movements, and that's where semantic search shines. Semantic search is powered by embeddings. What are embeddings? Computers don't speak language, they speak numbers. And embedding is how we translate language into numbers that computers can understand. And that's what powers semantic search. Using embeddings, we can map words that are similar to each other closer together. And most importantly, with context-aware embeddings, we can distinguish words used in different contexts, like flies used as a verb versus as a noun. We use ML models to generate these embeddings, but instead of using the powerful text generation large language models like GPT and Llama, we need to use the encoder model to generate these embeddings. For that, we chose Modern BERT, which is the latest member to the BERT family. The embeddings coming out of the encoder models are not directly usable for semantic search, so we fine-tune them to perform sentence similarity, specifically to associate answers with queries. And I know I've talked a lot about the ML technical stuff. This is the last of it. The model that we fine-tuned and the microservice that we're providing to power the semantic search are public and they're free to use. So be sure to check them out. And as I speak today, we're putting the final touches on semantic search. Soon it will be available on Core Listener and as an API. And as I mentioned, the microservice inception is already available if you want a head start. And I'm going to touch on filing categorization. We're creating an ontology of filing categories, and our goal is to categorize all 400 million docket entries and attachments, which will power key events and alerts and search in recap. Sneak peek into some of the future AI projects. We're doing some semantic search advancements like re-ranking and similar case search, and we're also doing case and filing summarization. And we're also constantly thinking of ways to integrate advanced AI solutions. For that, we will be including agentic workflow and RAG into our e-filing product. And we're doing book scanning and parsing, as well as generating transcripts for our oral arguments. With that, I'm at the end of my talk. I'm around if you want to talk more or discuss or want to learn anything about how we extract the citations, how embeddings work. And be sure to sign up for our newsletters, and we have stickers if you want.
I already got some of the stickers. I haven't made this joke yet, but they're lit. This is the lit conference. Okay. All right. I saw Becky earlier, but I don't know okay, good. All right. Next up, don't go yet. Okay. Next up, we have Becky Katz. It's Becky, right? You prefer Becky? All right, good. All right, and then are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, here I'll give you the same. I'll give you the 20-second, 15-second fly-in.
So not as part of this, I'm just going to say that I used a really cool old-style typewriter font, and it didn't stick with my presentation, so. Hi, my name is Becky Katz. I'm a law librarian, and today I am taking a not nuanced, hard line against generative AI as a solution to the justice gap. In the TV show Madam Secretary, Chief of Staff Russell Jackson describes himself as a knee-jerk contrarian. It's his job to push back on everything. The laggard is technology's knee-jerk contrarian. The laggard pushes back on technology to make sure that it doesn't become a runaway train. I remember 3 things from my 7th grade English class. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, which sadly we are seeing. The Battle of Hastings was in 1066, and you need to know that to be illiterate adults. And Hegel's dialectic.
A thesis is countered by an antithesis, and the result is a synthesis. And prior to Hegel, there was my favorite Jewish philosopher, Rambam, who echoed Aristotle in the search for the golden mean. Rambam teaches us that extreme optimism needs to be countered with extreme pessimism to come to a favorable outcome. And since I see a lot of extreme optimism about Gen AI, I've appointed myself the contrarian to share extreme pessimism. To be fair, Gen AI supporters do recognize a few well-known and accepted cautions with regard to access to justice, like hallucinations, privacy concerns, and intellectual property regarding the underlying large language model. But 15 seconds actually can be a long time if you time things poorly. But the laggard isn't concerned about those. The laggard, with respect to access to justice, is concerned that seemingly uncritical excitement about Gen AI neglects at least three key considerations. First is the possibility that an improvement in lawyers' efficiency might actually expand the justice gap instead of contracting it. For example, with improved efficiency, the law firm attorney might not use those found hours to help more pro bono clients. They might just bill more. And a legal services attorney isn't going to have more time. They're going to have their funding taken away from them. So the second issue is that the resources required for ongoing maintenance, study, and updating of LLMs is not going to follow the access to justice implementations. And the Gen AI tool today is probably not the best Gen AI tool tomorrow. And then there's the human touch, which seems to be missing in a lot of the technology conversation. In the access to justice space, I see a lot of excitement about self-represented litigants who are going to be able to use Gen AI to do research themselves, but that just isn't the case. One study recently talked about the great success that they had with self-represented appellants using Gen AI to draft their appeals, but they had success after a 12-hour training course. Another study evaluated different LLMs for legal analysis and stated that their prompts included an instruction to respond with a temperature of 0.0. Well, self-represented litigants know that. I had never heard of that before. And finally, for now, we need to remember that one of the reasons people don't get legal help for their problems is they don't realize their problems are legal. And Gen AI is not going to fix that either. And then one note, which I didn't just don't have enough time to talk about, but really needed to share, is that history repeats itself. And did electronic research databases solve the justice gap? No. So I have many more thoughts to share, of course, and you can reach me on my landline, or you can just send a letter.
I really like that, and I want to. I'm kind of a not quite a knee-jerk contrarian, but you can see me doing other things in different contexts. So I really appreciated that. Next up, we have Tom Martin, who has been spoken of beforehand, and yes, I did order these to come in this order. So let's see how it all goes. I do hope that the reception afterwards will be a lot of fun conversations. So please seek out the people you disagree with. Yeah, so it's right there. Is that you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But I'll be able to preview it there.
Oh yeah, you'll see it there. So, all right, here we go. 15 seconds of our slide, and then Tom's off to the races. Tom Martin.
All right, thank you very much. So, gotta wait for it, right? All right, well, I'm Tom Martin, and I'm really thrilled that Christian mentioned Leah at the top of the hour with the keynote. So LEA stands for Legal Information Institute. It's a program that we put together with Legal Aid of North Carolina. I want to say thanks to Cherie Gilchrist, who is my partner in that. And so LawDroid is a company I founded about 9 years ago. I'm a lawyer. I'm an entrepreneur in legal tech, and I also have the honor of teaching here at Suffolk Law, Gen AI. So go Suffolk. Surprisingly, at a pro bono conference, there was 63% of the pro bono attorneys that did not want to use AI. And at a interest group that I led with Sam Harden last year at LSC, 50% of the attorneys didn't want to use AI. So I would suggest that the reason why is because there's not a clear way to use it safely. So you need to begin with the end in mind. Like, what are you actually trying to accomplish? I totally agree, AI might not be the solution to everything. You need to keep in mind what the actual business need is. Where are you creating value? How are you doing that for self-represented litigants? It's not just about a use case. People like to talk about that, but that's really describing the how, but not necessarily the why of why we use it. So Legal Aid of North Carolina, their problem is that they were handling 400,000 phone calls every year with people asking for information. Now, they have an amazing website with tons of information. That's not the problem. The purpose of the legal information assistant is to easily find that information within the website. Sometimes it's buried there. Sometimes it's different media types. It's difficult for a layperson to meander their way through to that. So here you have the widget, lower right-hand corner, like you see, but now you have a helpful assistant that is there to get you to your answer, to make the complex simple. That's what Gen AI is about. It's about making the complex simple. And so you saw a demo before, thankfully, about how it works, but we actually have suggested questions at the bottom. Many lay people don't know where to start, what questions to ask. We suggest it to them. We also suggest follow-up questions that they'll never would have thought about. So we approach it this way. I would point out that number 2 is actually the biggest time sink of it all. Figuring out what the data is, how to keep it up to date, how to make it clear, non-duplicative, and helpful. So it's been a long and winding road with every single client that I've worked with, including Legal Aid of North Carolina, about putting that data set together so it can create value for the end user, the self-represented litigant. It's never a straight line to success. And so one size doesn't fit all because different clients come from different places. So for Legal Aid of North Carolina, they had a robust website, pretty up to date. State of Alaska that I'm currently working with, it's a little different. They're having to update things. So there's different approaches. You can also make use of chatbots in different ways. It doesn't have to be external facing where an end user is using it. It could be inside the organization to help them speed through what they need to do. For example, here's a business need where repetitive staff training sessions have to go about, usually with supervisors, but to scale that and to get more people on board to help, you can digitize it. You can make it generative so that you could walk them through training. And what better way to do this and put it together than to have some kind of intuitive builder of these chatbots. So this is a little bit under the hood here to show you how we do it within LawDroid. So this is an example where you have an outgoing message, you get to select a knowledge group, which is actually the data and information it connects to. You get to choose which AI provider. We're agnostic, so it could be OpenAI, it could be Anthropic or what have you. You choose the model, you have a system prompt to guide it about how to deal with an end user, and all you can see, it's very much like WordPress. In this slide, you see that we were actually putting the information in directly, and it makes it very easy to update. You just put it into the system, you click save, it's live, but a different way is that we actually direct it and link it to a website where it pulls the information, extracts it from the website, and does that on a regular basis. So which strategy you use really depends on the client. It's not one size fits all. And then we empower our organizations with analytics, archives of conversations. They can go back, they can see how it's being used, they can gauge if it's being effective. And in this case, we've had over, 20,000 conversations. LawDroid has engaged in over 100,000 conversations just this year. And that's what we do, is we use Gen AI to make the complex simple. And that's it. So thank you very much.
All right, we are now to our final rapid fire talk. And so Megan McMillin. Let's actually, you know what? I got to do the thing again. All right, here we go. Megan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan McMillin. I'm the Practice Innovation Manager at Cleary Gottlieb, and I'm here to talk about designing the future lawyer.
What?
That's not mine.
Here, let's. You know what? What happened was that this got updated. We updated these slides midday, and the update didn't make it all the way. So let's just reopen. And then let's see if I remember my, okay, it remembered that, that's good. Oh, and I see them, there we go. All right. Okay. All right, nope, that's I know how to fix this problem now.
That is one of my slides.
All right. Okay, fingers crossed.
Okay, I'll try it again. Still Megan McMillin, Practice Innovation Manager at Cleary Gottlieb. We're going to talk about designing the future lawyer. So the legal profession is shifting. It's not enough to know the rules. We have to understand how to move when the rules change. The future lawyer isn't just a subject matter expert. She's someone who thrives in uncertainty and adapts with purpose. Law school trains us to spot issues, cite precedent, and deliver perfect answers. There's pride and precision and expertise. But in a world that's accelerating, being right isn't always enough. The question now is, how do we keep delivering value when the answers keep changing? Technology, regulation, client expectations, they all evolve constantly. And legal work is no longer just about static rules. It's about understanding the shifting context and responding quickly and strategically. So we need two things. We need agility and we need systems thinking. Agility helps us act when conditions are unclear, and systems thinking helps us understand the full landscape, how law intersects with data, process, and business. Agility means you don't freeze when something's new. You try, you learn, you adjust. And a legal problem is rarely the only problem. It's connected to everything else. So system thinkers don't just fix issues, they prevent them. Perfection is the enemy of innovation. I've worked with brilliant attorneys who've delayed action because they didn't want to get it wrong. But waiting too long to act is its own kind of risk, especially when the environment is already shifting. So let's be clear, agile doesn't mean impulsive, it means intentional action under uncertainty. You don't skip the risk analysis, you scale it appropriately and move forward with awareness. Agile lawyers manage risk without being managed by fear. If we wait until every risk is resolved, we've already missed the moment. Being first doesn't mean being careless, it means being prepared to lead, learn, and adjust before the rest of the market catches up. Agile lawyers don't work in isolation. They try something new, tell others what's worked and what didn't, and improve the next time. And this creates a culture of shared learning, not silent perfectionism. Tools are evolving daily. AI, automation, client platforms, and global regulation and internal policies often lag way behind. And that gap creates hesitation. but agile lawyers know how to evaluate the tech in real time and take action while others are still waiting. So a data breach isn't just an IT issue. A delayed filing isn't just a legal issue. Everything is connected now, and clients expect us to understand how law fits into the bigger picture of their business and their operations. A clause in a contract might surface a deeper workflow issue. A compliance concern could stem from how a tool was implemented. And lawyers who understand those links throughout the business are able to offer truly strategic advice and not just reactive fixes. So when something goes wrong, system thinkers don't just ask how to patch it. They ask, what earlier decision made this outcome happen? And how do we intervene earlier next time? And that's where the real risk reduction for our clients starts. Great lawyers are not just spotting legal issues. They're mapping behavior, workflows, and pressure points. That lets them prevent future issues, designing better systems, and help clients move faster with more confidence. These lawyers aren't off to the side. They're embedded in strategic teams with their clients. They speak the language of data, product, and business goals, and they help solve problems before they escalate into legal ones. Lawyers of the future aren't just trusted advisors. They're also decision makers. They guide people through high stakes, uncertain situations with judgment, clarity, and a broad understanding of the system they're navigating. So lawyers don't need to just memorize rules anymore. We need to understand how the rules interact with each other, where the gaps are, and how we can help design smarter, safer systems for clients to operate in. When lawyers combine agility with systems thinking, they unlock a whole new kind of value for clients. They don't just give advice, they shape decisions. They can adapt in real time, understand the moving parts, and help clients act strategically, not just safely. And that's the difference between giving answers and giving direction. And this isn't just theoretical, it's happening right now. I've seen lawyers step up, experiment, lead cross-functional teams, and bring clarity to complexity. They're not waiting for the perfect title or the perfect tool. They're already using agility and systems thinking to deliver better outcomes and redefine what legal leadership looks like. Lawyers used to be called in to react or to close a deal. Now, the best ones have helped design the playbook. They're at the table from the start, shaping the system itself. Thank you.
All right, we're almost to that wonderful stage where I get to say, go upstairs to how we can celebrate Mark and have a drink and some food. But before we do that, I want to, because we are actually a little bit early. Ooh, look at that. I think this would be a great opportunity. If anyone had any questions for the folks who just went with the rapid fire talks, I would love to, let's get some discussion started that we can then finish upstairs. Does anyone have a question for any of the speakers? And Landon, our microphone runner, Sam came up with really cool names. President?
Yeah, question for anyone among the speakers. How long does 15 seconds really feel? No, I'm kidding. What does the law firm of the future or the nonprofit law firm of the future look like? Any
of our speakers want to field that? We had nonprofit and profit law firm of the future. Tom has a thought.
So one vision of it that I have in mind is that you have the same amount of lawyers, but now you have a data center next to them. And it's essentially like amplifying their effect by at least 100-fold. So to me, it's a real boon right now. And I think it's going to make us all much more productive and help many more people.
Thanks. I would just add that we're very focused on new roles within the law firm and sort of what that will look like going forward. I think every case and deal team will have a legal technologist. And I think there's just going to have to be a shift in who's doing what work and how to define that appropriately. And it's top of mind at Cleary for sure.
Becky has a...
So this isn't exactly your question, but I think access to justice of the future is going to recognize that it needs to be not just lawyers who are trying to come up with the solutions, but people from all backgrounds.
I'm just going to add in, this is a choose your own adventure. Well, I'm sorry, that's actually still copyrighted as the Bandersnatch people on Netflix. This is a we decide, I think, is the answer, and the decisions we make, and I do mean some of the people in this room make, will help answer that for good or for ill. Watch out for those monkey paw wishes. You got to watch out for those. Other questions? Linda in the back. Oh, but the people online can't hear you if you yell. You've had like 80 people online all day. It's been great.
Something that's been on my mind over the past year and a half is how activist organizations, legal organizations, can anticipate doctrinal change that they don't like. Can anticipate when the tipping point comes for a doctrinal change. And the example that I would use is with vaccines, for example. It used to be true in the 70s that if you had a religious objection to a school vaccine, that the First Amendment would give you no joy. But that's reversed. And there was a tipping point recently. So I've been thinking about how do we use the same kind of tools that you're using for the Free Law Project, which I adore. Is it possible? How far in the future? Is it possible to measure to do semantic analysis to look at just the words that people use that isn't the actual rule, but implements the rule, and when to predict that tipping point so that resources can be devoted ahead of time?
So who wants to predict the future? I think it's free law.
I think a lot of the stuff Rachel's working on in our AI work and processing the data and able to use traditional analytics that have been applied to document assembly and that kind of stuff, applying that writ large and the amount of capacity that these AI models can churn through quickly and the amount of data they can churn through, we can start to see trends as they're happening. Our bots.law sort of bots are we have different ones for different sort of subject matter areas. So those are flagging cases that are similar and related and posting them on social media. But I think a lot of the computer processing models that we have and the large amount of data that we can put together can show trends and less trends, but more what's coming or what immediately is about to become a trend.
I feel like I'm back in law school, and my constitutional law professor is saying you only have to count to 5.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to mention that, now everyone all hear about is large language models and generative AI, but for legal documents, for example, essentially boils down to natural language processing. And we've been using natural language processing in conjunction with machine learning and AI for a long time. It's just it was never in the spotlight because people don't speak computers. But now computers can give you a natural language that we can communicate with. So I think we're already moving in that direction. Yeah, as Jessica mentioned, there's still a lot of moving pieces that's gonna come together, and there's a big talk about when is AGI gonna come, right? But I think that is a totally different conversation from we're talking about today in application to legal use and how we can incorporate NLP and AI into the legal domain.
All right, I think that probably seems as good a point as any to continue the conversation upstairs. And you can talk about whether or not you have a PDUM or whether or not you think PDUM is a silly idea. Maybe it's a silly idea. Maybe there are more immediate risks. I was a public defender before I did this work. So I think I was, yeah. Anyhow, we're going to go upstairs now to the 5th floor. So you can take either the stairs or the elevator to the Blue Sky Lounge. And we're going to have a reception. There's going to be some food. There's going to be some drinks. I think technically they'll come out in like 10 minutes, but I think they're probably set up already. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to have our first ever inaugural Lit Impact Award, where we will recognize Mark Lawrenson for his contribution. And we'll say more nice things about him up there. But I, too, have taught a bunch of classes that he started. So, and I often, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, like, why? I want to know what you're thinking. So I'm like, let's go upstairs. Let's celebrate. Thank you all.